Welcome back, dear viewers. We have Mr. Anas Burahmah, permaculture designer and trainer. Also, he's a member in التطوير volunteer group. He has 11 years in psychotherapy and medical rehabilitation from government sector to private hospital and private home care practice as head of rehabilitation. He's known as an environmentalist, permaculture designer, and teacher with an interesting blend from both worlds. Welcome in our studio. Nice to have you here.
Nice to have you.
So we are glad to have you, Anas Burahmah, with us, and it seems that you have a really impressive CV. And I'm just curious to know, when did the passion of planting and greening came from?
It is really an interesting twist where I was working in the government and I had my discipline and work in physiotherapy and rehabilitation, especially focused on special needs.
Okay.
And those children, once we treat them after a certain time, they don't really come back with us with the same level of intervention and improvement that we used to give them after their rehabilitation. So it just came to me that we need to really go and intervene not only with their lifestyle that we're trying to do as a physiotherapy by practice, but we have to go into their lifestyle and actually intervene in their environment. So this is where I've had my passion also with the environmental improvement as well as the design, and got the certification for. Ever since in 2015, have been merging both worlds to really give the quality of life that drove me into these healthcare and medical practices, to blend and really improve on the quality of life, not only for the pediatrics, not only for the children, as well as for the adults and the geriatrics.
General population.
Yeah.
Such a unique thing that you could combine both major together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's very smart.
Tell us, what is the meaning of environmental rehabilitation?
So as we're trying to do the same with people, those that can't do something will be able to do. So say, for example, carrying some weights from the bag or trying to lift something from the ground. If they can't do, so we need to, through the rehabilitation process, to get them back into functioning and being able to do that task intended. So the same we go and do with the environment. So there are places, because of the deterioration, I don't really like to use the desertification, as there's a negative connotation using desertification as having some kind of negative idea from a desert. Desert is a good ecosystem that is healthy once it is intact. But because of the deterioration of land, you wouldn't be able to even see these annual plants that usually come native from our climate.
Correct.
So once we have this kind of situation, we need to intervene to really rehabilitate this land, to be able to take in the water and make it happen so it could return back and really carry and take the life again and support it once at a time until we reach to a point of the evolution where maybe it could even stand taking in trees.
That's very interesting.
Very interesting. So, Mr. Anas, I'm just curious. You and your group, in the Tatweer group, that you are volunteering to increase and spread the awareness in the Kuwaiti society about planting, greening. I'm just would like to know, what are the responses from the parents, children? Do you have a good responses? Do you have more people coming in? And I just talking with you before the interview that you are there every Saturday with your group, that you educate people about that. So could you tell us more about that?
So yeah, it's interesting. This project started in 2017, late 2017. It was really a small impact, and mainly was from around our social circles. But currently now we're picking up not in just small portions where other people are getting interested. There are people that are looking into doing this model to be replicated on other locations. So it's very nice to see people coming every Saturday, and we have people from different scopes of the social groups in Kuwait. That are people coming from Jahra all the way north, and people coming from south, and we have people from around and different classes of individuals that are interested in doing this. Some are purely locals. Others are also blended with different nationalities and even different speaking languages and speaking tongues.
Yes.
And we have a different variety of activities that would attract a lot of people that are interested either in planting or the social aspect of processing and doing these kind of activities and movement. We have people working with us to have a similar model in Jahra, another doing in Buftera and Fnetis, and we have other attempts here and there to really start doing a similar work with a very deep and beneficial impact. Alhamdulillah.
So it's a very interesting talk, and Mr. Anas, about this topic, as well as we're going to have more to talk about it, but we have a short break. So dear viewers, before we complete our discussion, let's watch this interesting interview with a very sweet girls who will tell us more about their experience in Shamia greenhouse. So let's watch it together and we will be back, so please stay tuned.
Welcome back, dear viewers. We have Mr. Anas Burahmah with us in the studio today. We're talking about greening and planting. So I want to ask you, for those who've been volunteering with you for a while, whether they're kids, teenagers, moms, have you seen any positive impact happening on them throughout the time?
Sure. So it's interesting to see the change and the level of engagement from the beginning until now, and seeing how people that would come usually and frequently are now getting to a point where they are trying to establish their own system. They come back and asking about how to do this, how to do that, and following with the Instagram.
They're experimenting on their own.
Okay. So this is interesting, as the trigger for doing all of this work was the disconnect between the new generation with the supply chain. Say, for example, food. So before, in the beginning, those youngsters, you would ask them, where does food come from? And they would say that from the co-op, Jamia. But once they start seeing and feeling that, okay, so this is pepper and this is tomatoes,
Correct.
and we see this being brought to us from Kuwait,
Correct.
and we feel it and smell it and then we taste it. This is from a greenhouse, and then we take them from the greenhouse environment, seeing they were trained that Kuwait is a desert climate where you can't really support life and you can't really plant. And then they go and see the production that they see from outside and field work. They say, now they believe.
Okay. They've seen the plant, they've picked it themselves.
They've been participating and doing this, and not only in the level of gardening, they're trying and producing and experimenting with recycling, with doing forestry kind of intervention, where you can really harvest and grow the soil itself to really enrich the cultivation. So that's an interesting change.
Very interesting. So I'm curious as well. Probably is going to be a good message to our dear viewers. How could I be a volunteer at Tatweer?
So we have a session every Saturday.
Okay.
We sit in Shamia. It's inside the youth center of Shamia. There's only one in Shamia, and we sit every Saturday from 10 a.m. About until 1 p.m. Maybe sometimes we can go a little bit further, depending on the level of activity. So anyone really can come in. They can learn, or they can start with the volunteering and doing some climate action. So we have different fields of interest. We have people interested in the design. We have artworks, and those that are interested in artworks. We have a lot of architects helping out and participating in our work. And we have those that are interested in either gardening, being those with the annual production, food, tomatoes, etc. And those that are interested in the designing and implementing food forest and forestry kind of systems. So all of these, and even a bit more activities here and there that are seasonally. So anyone in any Saturday, they can come in.
Anyone is welcome.
Yes, everyone is welcome.
Any age.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yes. We have people trained. Personally, I've trained people from the age of 3 all the way to retired ladies. So it really depends on
wide
the
range
level.
of ages.
So it depends on the scope that people are interested in. Anyone could be trained and could have this green thumb to really showcase all of this in their own environment and their own community.
And this is actually interesting that I could learn as a volunteer and I could apply this in my own house, right?
Yes,
and this is actually, your goal is to really increase the greening in Kuwait.
That's the aspiration.
Exactly. That's going to probably improve the climate.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
That's for sure. So socially, environmentally, as well as economically. So this helps in every aspect.
Very good.
So what about the role of parents in instilling the importance of planting and greening in their kids?
So usually the trigger really comes from the parents to get us into the point where we can reach those audience and be able to help with the parents to get them the right message. So once the parents are interested, then they can learn. Once they want to learn and experience, then we can give them some experiments that they can do at home, or they would be interested enough that they would look up certain activities and certain experimentations.
What is the messages that you have for our dear viewers?
We would love to be able to remove the negative connotation of our environment with it being a really desert. Desert is okay. Desert is a good climate. Desert is an ecosystem that is healthy on itself. But the degradation is different. It's a completely different aspect from how we see our environment. And this is something that needs to be instilled very, very clearly. And that's one aspect. Another aspect is you really don't have a barrier of having the reduction or less water in our climate to be able to replicate and do a rehabilitation of any land. It's just the right design. It's just the right decisions. It's the right ways of intervening and doing this smaller intervention to rehabilitate the land to be able to get it into production again.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for all this information. Very, very valuable. And I hope it helped grow the love for greenery and appreciating planting more, and made it easier for everyone watching us today to get inspired to start doing it on their own.
We would like to thank you so much for your time as well as for the information that you provide for us.
Thank you so much. Dear viewers, we're going to take a short break. Please stay with us.